All right. Welcome to our meeting. I'm calling the meeting of the Castro Valley Unified School District to order. Amy, are there any requests to speak on closed? Okay, so we are going to recess to closed session. All right, we are reconvening to open session. During closed session, we did take action. The board approved the appointment of Mr. Jeff Keller as principal of Proctor Elementary School on a vote of 4-0. Oh, I'm sorry. The motion was made by Mike and the second was by Dolly. Before we proceed with our meeting, I'd like to take a moment of silence for the families of Robb Elementary School. During the time of year when we celebrate the school ending, celebrate our students' achievements and completion of their journeys, we now find ourselves mourning the families of Robb Elementary School. Hug the people that you treasure. Let's cry together, let's get angry, and then let's unite to change our world. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor the families of Uvalde and the children and adults that were killed yesterday. Thank you. All right, we will move on to approval of the agenda.
I'll move approval of the agenda if there are no changes.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, Mike,
Yes.
please. Thank you. Gary?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
And my vote is yes, so the agenda is approved. Trustee Howard, can you please read the mission statement?
Certainly. In partnership with the community, Castro Valley Unified School District, I guess we're united also, hopefully. Unified School District educates students in a learning environment that is safe, nurturing, and culturally responsive. Students are guided by excellent, inspired staff utilizing innovative instruction, curriculum, and technology.
Thank you. The board respects and encourages the public to comment on matters on the board agenda and within the board's jurisdiction. The board fully supports civil discourse and requests that everyone respect each other and their point of view. Individuals who would like to address the board must complete a request to speak form or via the Google form at www.cv.k12.ca.us/public comment/ and submit it prior to the start of the agenda item. At the discretion of the board president, speaker cards may be accepted after the start of the agenda item. Your name will be called, and you will either come to the podium to speak or unmute during your turn and be allowed to make public comment. After your allotted time, you will be remuted. Individual speakers are asked to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes unless the board decides otherwise. There are up to 30 minutes for public comment allowed on each agenda item. With board consensus, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed. This meeting is being recorded to prepare the official minutes. To comply with the Brown Act, the board may listen to comments from speakers under public comment, but can neither discuss nor take action on the issues presented. The next item is a student board member report, but she is probably studying for finals right now.
That's right. That's correct.
So we'll move on to item 5, presentations and recognitions.
So it's my pleasure to introduce the Castro Valley Arts Foundation. Ms. Leibowitz is going to start us off. She's going to be sharing with us some wonderful news about the Arts Foundation. Welcome.
of the Arts Foundation, so I think Mary Ann said my job starts next month. And I am a co-founder of the Castro Valley Arts Foundation, so I've been around doing this for a long time. We are a board that, or a foundation that got together when after the building was built, the theater was built, we realized that it was going to need some support. And so we established the foundation to help the district maintain the theater, because theaters are kind of unto themselves. They've got a lot of needs. So one of the things we do is raise money for the theater. And we're really proud to say that this year we were able to do quite a bit. And we pledged over $143,000 to the theater. And of that, I just will break it down. $23,000 was for the video live streaming, and that's already going now. And Sean, our wonderful managing director there, just sent over some notes. He said, so far 13 shows have been streamed, over 200 tickets have been sold, making about $1,500 for the arts programs through the district. There are 4 technicians that are being trained to run that live stream system. And now already 2 of our renters have signed up that they want to use that for their guests. So it's being well used. It was used for the mariachi program the other night. It was used tonight this afternoon for the Redwood graduation. So, and Sean said that there are over 15 states that these streamings have gone out to. So it's really a lovely thing that we can offer. So that's the first one, 23,000. Another 1,800 for video monitors, and what that means is when you see the monitor in the lobby, there's a new one there. There's one in the backstage. There's some in the green room and some in the dressing rooms. All those are important when you've got shows going on, so that various members can see what's going on and when they're being called and so forth. And the ones that we had were in sad shape and old. Another $8,000 as we turn the lights into LEDs. And I know you all understand that LEDs are better, they last longer, and they're expensive. So we are slowly doing that. Every year we have pledged $35,000 that goes to, I think it's been different things, but I think currently it goes to our tech manager and his position, Pat Brandon. We're very lucky to have that position. So that was added to it. And the latest thing, which we're partnering with the district, is a new sound system. And so we've pledged at least $75,000 to match your $75,000 to bring in. And Sean's hoping to have that in by midsummer. We'll see if that happens. So a lot of new things, and I know that the district has done a lot of things too to the building this year. So in addition to raising money, I'm really proud of the program that we offer in the exhibition room. Susan Sardi, who is a retired Castro Valley teacher and an artist herself, is our curator, and she brings in about 3 or 4 different community artists and they hang their work in the room. And when they do that, they agree to work with our students. And Jen Parker, our art teacher, she makes great use of that. And so the artist will, I always attend because I always love to learn what the artist is talking about. And a sample, one of our artists was Chandana Saranth, and she was born in India, and I hope that you all got to see it because the room was glorious. Many of her paintings were huge. She talked to the students about folk art, and that's what she does. She learned from her grandmother. She talked to them about, she doesn't use a brush, she uses little sticks, and it's very symbolic. And usually what the artist does is she goes in the morning and she just talks to each class. So it's really a fun experience for me to watch and see. And oftentimes the students will try to do some of this art themselves. So I'm very, very proud of that program, and it's been going on for, I'd say, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. We also oversee a very robust volunteer usher program. And I know I saw some of you this afternoon because I happened to be ushering at the Redwood graduation. But I don't think we could do what we do without all of the volunteers. Happened. We were just changing this. Every year we try to acknowledge a volunteer. And one of our volunteers, Karen Luxinger, was the coordinator for volunteers. She retired after, oh my gosh, let's see, about 16 years with 8,500 volunteer hours. So a lot of people are doing a lot of gifting. And when all of our volunteers supply the needed volunteers for all the school functions, but when we do it for renters, they actually have to pay a certain amount, and that money then comes back to the foundation as a donation. So it works, pretty well. However, COVID took its hit with us as well. And I know about a month ago, I wrote an article in the forum saying we need volunteers. So if you know anyone in your neighborhood that you think might enjoy that, we are so happy to see new ones, because there were 23 events this month at the center. And that's a lot of people. We need at least 3 ushers, a house manager, and 3 people in the box office. So it's a lot of bodies for each of those events. Okay, oh, and just to give you an idea, in a non-COVID year, we usually get a check from those volunteer renters hours to maybe between $2,000 and $4,000. So it's quite a nice gift. Another way we raise money is through our shows. And we usually have 4 or 5 events a year. Maybe, I know one time we had the ballet with Carveen, encouraging that was wonderful. We have cover bands. We have, this year, in the fall, we have an illusionist that's coming. So we try to do different things. Some are more successful than others. So we are always trying. This summer, for the first time, we're going to have 2 events. Mel Speed has wanted to help us with getting money for the sound system, because he's always interested in having the best sound for anything that he's involved in. So we're going to have 2 shows back to back, actually, and we're going to try dinner beforehand in the front patio. So something new. So watch for that as well. One of the things that I didn't realize when we started this was, well, first of all, we started the programs because we thought, why is someone going to volunteer if they haven't enjoyed being in the center? So we thought, okay, so if they come and they see what's happening, maybe they'll be more interested in contributing. But at the same time that was happening, it also is clear that the center has been a community builder, and that's been a pleasure, where people get together and they see each other. Maybe they haven't seen each other for a while, but this sort of thing goes on. So there've been a lot of things to come from the center that were unexpected. So that's what we've been up to, and we just wanted you to know. And it's been quite a wonderful collaboration between us. So, oh, I should say, currently there are 18 board members. It's obviously all volunteer, and we're always looking for people that have energy. Apparently there are boards where you just sit and vote on things, but the other side is a working board. Well, we're the working board. So definitely we love people with energy and ideas. So that's who we are. Any,
Yeah.
is there any questions or?
Mrs. Leibowitz, could you introduce the
Oh,
two other board
yes,
members who
yes.
are here?
Susie Homer is here and Matt Kaiser is here. And
That's right.
came to be here. And it's a wonderful thing because I'm sure, as you know, from your board experience, these are people you work with all the time and they all end up to be your dear friends. And that's been another advantage. So we appreciate that.
And then I just wanted to say, like, every event we've had, for you guys to have ushers, without that, we couldn't have done it. So I just wanted to thank you. I know you were there for mariachi, you were there today, you had
Right.
23 events, and it's been amazing. And the artist that you talked about, Dr. Ryman and I were actually at Adobe
Yes.
and saw, and actually
Oh,
she
good.
explained to us, it's amazing art
Well,
that I never even knew about. So
no,
that was
it's
really
wonderful.
great.
And these people are in our community. And I hope at one point we tried to get something going where with the Art Inc. and in the lobby. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we might return to that because it's just, when you see the exhibition room with nothing in it and then you see this art in it, it's like
Yeah.
the total difference. Do you want to, if you want to be in that room? So I really am encouraging that.
Yeah.
Right.
So the alcohol permits for those two events
Yes.
that you were talking about is on the agenda
Oh,
too.
good. Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from board members for Mrs. Leibowitz? Mike?
Thank you for ushering me in tonight. And
Oh.
I actually was wandering around a bit and was really impressed by the space there. How often do we have exhibitions in the exhibition space? I was really intrigued. I wanted to understand how you program around that
Well,
and how it gets used.
We usually start when school opens in September, and we need to be out by when Jen tells us they're going to have the student art end of the year. And this year, I think it was in April, so we try to get those in before. I know we've already talked to our middle school teacher, Daryl Lavin, about having a show of his photographs, I think, to open in September. And so it's 3 or 4 generally in that time. And we try to, and it's been hard this year with COVID testing. And so that's been a little bit hard, but at any rate, it'll all get back to the way it was, I'm sure, or something better. So, all right, thank you.
Valley?
I just wanted to thank you for all of your time and effort for you and the other people in the Castro Valley Arts Foundation. Thank you.
It's actually been a joy, so thank you.
All right, we'll move on to 5B, which is recognize the Association of California School Administrators Administrator of the Year Award.
So at the last meeting, we honored our classified members and teachers of the year. And tonight, we want to take a little bit of time to do this for our administrators who are working extremely hard. Once a year, the local and regional affiliates of the Association of California School Administrators, ACSA, recognize and honor the contributions and dedication to educational excellence of confidential employees of the year, classified managers of the year. The following leaders that you will see actually were nominated by their peers and have been recognized by the ACSA Administrator of the Year nominees for Castro Valley. So I'm going to call each one of them to come up and receive their certificate. We had an event in, where were we? In Dublin? In San Ramon, that's right, it was San Ramon. We were in San Ramon, and this was the first time after many, many months, actually a couple of years of not having any events, and about 300 people were there, 300 administrators, and our awesome people who are being recognized tonight were recognized at that event. So I'm going to call each one of them up. Christopher Fortenberry. He received this award for being the secondary co-administrator. Mr. Greg Coe, Technology Administrator category. And then Dr. Ryman won the Valuing Diversity Award. And then Miss Araceli Cortez, right there, won the Confidential Employee nominee. And then last but not least is Mr. Nick McMaster for Student Services Administrator of the Year. And Keith Newman, Mr. Keith Newman at the adult school also was, has an award, but he wasn't able to join us. So these folks are actually, the awards are from Alameda and Contra Costa, all the districts in Alameda, 18 districts in Alameda, and I can't remember how many in Contra Costa County. So these are our winners in Region 6. And I really want to take just a minute to tell you the last 3 years have been really difficult, the last 2.5. And I know that we want to recognize all of our employees, our classified, our teachers. And oftentimes, we may not spend as much time talking about our administrators, but I can tell you that without them and without all of our administrators, I don't know what we could have done. So I just want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know that they're working beyond anybody's imagination to make sure that we support our students and our staff and families. So congratulations. We should take a nice picture of them over here. You want a nice picture to put up.
All right, we'll move on to item 6, reports from our bargaining units. Is there anyone from CSEA on the line? Okay, how about CVTA? All right. Hi, Mark, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. Congratulations to all the administrators who were honored tonight. I had to miss the last meeting when our classified and certificated staff were honored because we were celebrating our Day of the Teacher event at Lake Chabot. Went a little later than anticipated, and that's a good thing because we need to celebrate more. Speaking of celebrations, our membership is excited and so proud of the graduating class of 2022. It has been an incredible couple of years, and it'll be nice to have a normal graduation again. I agree with what Ms. Amati just said. The last 3 years have been incredibly difficult. This year was especially so. Despite so many challenges, our membership rose to the occasion, as they always do. And looking to next year, our leadership team is committed to working on behalf of our students, and we will continue to advocate for our members who work directly with those students every day. We've had 3 bargaining sessions since April, and we are making some good progress. We scheduled one more session next week and would be so proud to end this super difficult year by bringing our membership a contract for next year. So thank you, board, very much for serving our community, and thank everybody, and good night.
Thank you, Mark. Amy, do we have any requests to speak on non-agendized items? Okay. All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
I'd move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, Mike, your vote, please.
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
And my vote is yes, so the consent agenda is approved. All right, on to reports, discussion, and action items. Personnel reports.
It's just our routine report, and we ask our board to approve it.
I'd move that we approve it.
I'll second that.
All right, any questions or comments? All right, Mike, your vote, please.
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
And my vote is yes, so the personnel report is approved. Resolution 642122, Education Protection Account.
Yes, this resolution is an annual resolution that we need your approval to accept the Education Protection Account Fund.
I move that we adopt the resolution 642122, the education protection account.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All right, are there any questions? All right, Mike, your vote, please.
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
And my vote is yes, so the resolution is adopted. Now we'll move on to the governor's budget May revise update.
So the May revise update, the governor released the May revise on May 13. So we've been attending workshops to learn more about the proposal, or how different it is from the governor's proposed budget in January, and how much revenues are we actually going to receive. So the theme for the May revision, really it's unprecedented revenue growth over the last couple of years. As you can see there, this is the entire California, $300.7 billion budget to provide relief from rising inflation, public safety, housing instability, transform public education, and combat the climate change. So I'm going to move on to K-12. So K-12 to Proposition 98, minimum guarantee, as you can see there, is very small. I apologize. This is really, we're trying to get as many years as from 1988 all the way to 22-23. As you can see there, it's $110 billion over, this is from, again, 88 to 2022-23. So here is the comparison from governor's budget in, like I said, in January to this month, May. So the LCFF funding increased from 3.3 billion to 6.1 billion. If you recall, the governor's proposed budget at that time is 5.33% COLA, statutory COLA, and now it's up to 6.56%. Included in the May revision, this is new. It's a one-time discretionary funds that he is setting aside $10 billion for that. So we applied the 22-23 COLA, which is the 6.56%. This is the base grant. And you're seeing a new line there, additional LCFF investment. So in addition to the 6.56% COLA, because of the unprecedented revenue that the state received, the governor is adding additional 2.1 billion to increase the base. And so for each grade span, you'll see how much that equates to 266 all the way to 322 for 9-12. And then the grade span adjustment for TK to 3, as well as 9-12 are still there. And of course, then supplemental funds where we get funding for our unduplicated count. We're below the 55%. So we get the 20% compared to other districts who their unduplicated pupil percentage is above 55. They actually get 65%. And that's what's called concentration grant. So the proposal, you've heard this last time I shared, what's included is the declining enrollment. He was proposing in January a solution to help with the declining enrollment. So the current year, and that's looking at current year, prior year, or which is this new, a new one is computed average ADA using the 3 prior years ADA. Now with the May revise, there's actually a 21-22 and what he called COVID relief, COVID ADA relief. That's looking at the attendance, the grader of attendance yield from 1920 to 21-22. So I have a calculation there just to show you. In the first proposal that was in January, and he is actually included it in the May revise, so that will continue. That ADA projection for us for next year is 8,735 ADA. If we use the average computed using the computed average ADA, which is the 3 years, right, from 1920, 2021, 21, 22, that's 8,798. So that's a difference of 63. So we were really happy about that because then at least we get that additional 63 with that proposal. And now with the May revise, it's actually a difference of 145, and that's because if you recall what we've said in the current year, 21-22, our ADA rate, the attendance rate is actually down because of the students being out because of COVID. And so what the governor is proposing or included in the May revise is that we're able to use with our enrollment the 1920 attendance rate, and that was about 96.39% for us, rather than looking at the 3-year average of a 1920, 2021, and of course then this year being so low, then that is the reason why that is only a difference of 63. But with this one, we are applying 1920 attendance rate, and so it's actually an increase of 145 instead of 63. So that's really good for a lot of districts, including us. Yes.
So it sounds like we're still sticking with this concept that's based on average daily attendance, because I know we're through conversations about looking more towards enrollment and other types of schemes, right?
Correct.
So we're sticking with some variation of ADA based on what we've seen from the May revised.
That's what the governor is included in the May revise, but I know that Assembly and the Senate are still negotiating, and so so we will see. Other proposals, I mentioned in the other previous slide, the $8 billion discretionary block grant. That's one time, and the intent is there to address student learning challenges, protect staff levels, and also support the mental health and wellness of students. This will offset outstanding mandate reimbursement claims. So, which is what we are hearing is that that's the reason why he wanted that. He's actually from staff at the state level. His governor's staff were asking the governor to really use that $8 billion to offset, which is really it's their to lower their credit card bill. So, and that's why the proposal it will continue to be a discretionary, so which is unrestricted. The 4.8 billion this is ongoing. We've shared this with you last year or last couple of months ago for the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP. This is actually the 4.8 billion. This is 4 years ahead of schedule. So what he was planning to do is really just give us 3.8 next year and then slowly increase it over the next 5 years. But in this case, he's actually giving us the entire 4.8 billion ongoing in 22-23. He added the 63 million for ELOP infrastructure needs. And then we shared with you the school facility program. This is an increase from 2.2 billion, and now it's up to $4 billion. So, we when we calculated what that $2.2 billion at that time being proposed, we will get about $8 million in from our application that's in the pipeline. So with the additional $1.8 billion, so we are expecting higher than obviously 8 million. So we should get more from this proposal. Yes.
And what are we going to spend it on? What, do you have some?
So we can only spend it on capital projects. So we do have from the Measure G presentation, we do have some that are because of the increase in costs, and so we will actually bring those back in. And one new one is 1.8 billion deferred maintenance, which is we really need this, which I'm glad that is included. As you know, with all the investments that we've made from the Measure G funds, we do need to set aside money on an annual basis to make sure that we keep up with all of the maintenance and all everything, just so the investment is not put into just 1 year and then we leave it alone and let it go to So that's the deferred maintenance. Largely unchanged is the AB 602. The 6.56 COLA will be applied, and so per the ADA right now is 820. Transitional kindergarten, child nutrition, which is what we also call universal meal program, will continue. And then what's still included is the 1.5 billion for transportation grant. And then, yes.
Do we know how much we would get from that? How much we would get from the transportation grant?
We don't know yet because there are a couple of proposals and there's negotiating about the transportation. So at this time, we don't know if it's going to be a mandate or if it's going to be a reimbursement.
Thank you.
And it's a competitive grant.
Competitive grant.
So, and it's for green zero emission buses. And I'm hearing from districts that actually have bought some of these buses that it's not working as well as they thought because they can't go in certain like uphill. It's just there are lots of issues around this one.
We're in the Castro Valley Hills, right?
Yes.
Except for my house.
And by school bus, they mean school buses, not other forms of transportation that a district may use.
Correct.
Okay, it's an actual bus. Okay.
And then just to remind you, CalSTRS and CalPERS rates. So I've included what's in the current year, the actual, 22-23 is 16.92 for CalPERS. And then the projected for 23-24 is 19.1. And then for CalPERS is 25.37 for next year. And then it goes up slightly every year. And then,
Excuse me.
questions, yeah.
Why does CalPERS go down?
So that's so that's actually what they project. It's based on the unfunded liability to do a calculation for what the state puts in, and then of course then the contribution that we make. So then they always have the actuarial report every year. And so they base the rates off of that, including investments that they receive. So if it made more money, then they look at that long term. Is this sustainable? And all of that. That's why it kind of fluctuates.
Sorry, I haven't until recently been looking at CalPERS, so have always been looking at CalSTRS, which always is up, up, up.
Okay. That's the end of the presentation. You have any questions?
I guess, so more about CalSTRS, CalPERS. There wasn't any talk about any one-time funds to try to reduce the burden on districts for the increasing.
No, but that's
CalSTRS.
correct. That's not included in the May revise, even in the governor's proposed budget, because of the discretionary funds. So the intent I've showed you, but we can use the discretionary funds towards the increase of the pension every year.
Oh, okay. So it's the first one there that can be used for that. Thank you.
When you talk to other budget officers, you must be really happy with the May revise. right? What about next year? I mean, or the year after, the next school year after that.
Yeah.
I have anxieties about that, but I'm just wondering how do you all think about what to spend now, what not to think about the future? Is it a mirage, et cetera?
Yeah, there's always, a risk, right? So right now, it's the state is receiving more than they actually projected on a monthly basis, and $2 billion per month, which is really good. But we also are hearing that it's starting to kind of be like the same, but yes. So it's what the Department of Finance, looking at the current revenue that they've received and then projected out in the next couple of years, not 22, 23, but the out years, they are actually projecting a COLA that is very close to the COLA that we're going to get in 22, 23. And again, we've had years where we were always looking forward to the big COLA, and then it was down. Oh, and there are times when it went up. So it just really depends. So the state looks at the 3 years. So it looks at last year, this year, and next year when they make a projection on the statutory COLA.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we will move on to item 10, Superintendent's Report.
Just a few things. Today, we actually attended our first meeting after the conference. It's called Transforming Kindergarten. It's a multi-state collaborative monthly meeting. So Ms. Rishichi and I attended. There were 19 states, so we have a team from California. There's just 6 of us from California, and we're meeting with, it's actually facilitated by West Ed. And then after probably about 5-6 months, we're going to do kind of a report for the whole state to kind of move us in the right direction with kindergarten. End of the year events, you've all been going to them, lots of great stuff. I was at the award ceremony at Castro Valley High School, and it was absolutely magnificent. It is always so well run, just beautiful. Something I really, really appreciate about what has always been done in Castro Valley is how they actually give awards to students. In many school districts, you have 1 valedictorian or 2. And here, instead, we actually honor students for anyone who has a 3.5 to 3.75, and then 7.5 to 3.99, and then 4 point and above. So there are so many students actually receiving awards. And I have to say, sitting there listening to the amount of, just the amount of money with some of the scholarships, I kept going, I wonder. So I did ask, and this year, when you add up the scholarships and the $115,000 from CVEF from the different grants, but all the scholarships that student received, it is $1.46 million. That is amazing, like very impressive. And what I loved also this year, they had a list of all of the schools students are going. And when you hear it, I was really excited to hear lots of different places all over the country. It is like, I'm finding that students are trying to find the best fit for them versus where maybe somebody else says they're going. So I was really excited. I'm going to try to see if we can put something in the forum. And then we had the graduation for the transition program at Redwood Continuation School. I know Dr. Zamora and I went there, and it's just always such a great event. On Saturday, we had a dual language immersion orientation at Vanoy, and it was lots of people, parents and students were there. Our teachers were there to meet the families. We had our mariachi playing as well, but it was a really, really great event. And then AAPI celebration at Canyon that students and staff had planned. It was beautiful. I have to say, I was so thankful to be there. I know Miss Adams was there as well, to hear Dot Theodore, one of the best speeches I've ever heard, just right on. I was very proud. And then last night, we had mariachi, the performance. It was packed. It was beautiful. It was just wonderful. I was really happy to be there. I know Dr. Ryman, Dr. Zamora were there as well. And today we had Redwood graduation. You were all there. And then we've been attending a lot of budget meetings. So today there was one from the Alameda County. I don't know if any of you got to attend it. It was about an hour and a half, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. But last week it was the school services. So that's it.
I bet they're all pretty good when there's such good news about the budget, right? All right, board member reports.
Attended a few things. Went to the Masonic Teacher of the Year event at the Masons Lodge. That was a really heartfelt event. Like it really came from a place of love for our public school teachers, and Dolly, I hope you have a few things to say about it. But it was just great. It was fun. It was fun. I was able to, with the superintendent, go to the Partners in Education. Is that the new, right, the Castro Valley Education Foundation is working with the Castro Valley Marketplace to develop a program to recognize businesses in the community who support the Ed Foundation, and learned more about that and really appreciated the presentation there and the opportunity from folks there. The vision really is, if we're going to have major asks in the community to support our schools, we've got to be engaged with our business community. And I really appreciate the nexus between the Ed Foundation and Craig Semmelmeyer and the marketplace there. I visited 3 schools. I went on 3 visits and really had a fun time at Redwood High School. Met with Principal Khan. What a great campus if you ever get a chance to go up there. I'm very enamored by the community garden that they want to build out there, that had to sort of go fallow during COVID. Had a great time visiting with Mr. Torpy at the high school. We're really trying to focus on the back end of the school, just sort of the operations of. I got to see him direct the students at lunchtime. I did not appreciate until I was there that you can get Domino's pizza for lunch, and he helps direct the traffic for that. That was really great. And then also had an opportunity to head over to Chabot Elementary School and spend some time with Dr. Husseini. I was really happy I did that. It was wonderful. It seemed like every classroom we went through sort of captured the essence of that grade, of what they were learning, and you kind of sort of saw the students learning out loud. And it was, as a parent at that school, it was wonderful to sort of kind of see a timeline of your kid growing up like that. I was really excited to learn more about how we're mentoring our new principals, and I was able to meet her coach and learn more about that. Kind of an impromptu thing happened. I was over at Creekside and was able to be at the dedication of the Lana Carlos Memorial, and I really appreciated to have the opportunity there to be at that. And I want to personally thank the superintendent for your messaging that went out last night with regards to what happened in Texas. Thank you for that.
I don't think I really represented the school system at all this last couple of weeks, but I was in a couple of other things. I participated in the rodeo parade and with the Rotary Club, putting that on a couple of weekends ago, and also participated in a DEI training session at the Rotary District Training Assembly that went very well. And the last thing is, I'd just like to mention, in conjunction with the Senior Awards Night, I always like to remind everybody that the system that underlies that was invented and developed single-handedly by the late Dr. Neil Fong, and that has served the community for all these years and facilitated the establishment and award of all of those, or most of those scholarships. He did that by himself, and it's been terrific. So thanks to Neil.
Oh, all right. So there are a number of things I went to, and as people were talking, I was reminded that I had been to those too. So um, both Mike and I went to the Masonic Awards, and there I got to sit with a lot of the Canyon teachers, which I really enjoyed a lot. And I got to talk to a couple of people I knew, somebody who was in my original credential program up at Cal State and some things like that, some reminiscing. It's really nice to see our teachers, you know, get these kinds of awards and stuff and be appreciated for all the hard work they do. Um, Very interesting to go to the AAPI awards and hear your presentation. Dot, I learned a lot about you and where you're coming from, and I was very glad to know that, and some things I know about you now that are familiar to me too. So that was really good, and I was glad to see all the different booths that were there and talk to a couple of people, and Raul was there also as well. So I enjoyed that, and I hope to go back again next year and hope that continues. I went to the senior art show at CVHS. That was very interesting, and I was able to see quite a bit of art that the kids are doing there. Some of the photography was eye-opening. There was this one with this multicolored heterogeneous eye that is still a picture in my brain. So that's actually my daughter's eye. Oh. Okay, and I was wondering if that was art, I mean, or if that color. The color of her eye. And my dog, this sounds terrible, but my dog has like half an amber eye and half a blue eye, and I guess that's, you know, part of my attraction to that. Heterochromia, yeah, that's it. And then of course, we all went, that people who were here went to the Redwood High School graduation. And of course, I used to work there, so it's like seeing old friends. And I just love to see those people, and they're wonderful. And it's the best time of year at Redwood is graduation, of course. And then the last thing I went to was the Regional Policy Board, which is for our special ed group of Castro Valley, San Leandro, San Lorenzo, and Hayward. And it was, you know, we had been looking at this for a couple of meetings about different regulations and administrative regulations. And I had done this here in this district just before that. So, hey, I was all kind of like ready to read regs, not really very, not like reading fiction, believe me. But it was good stuff to know. I actually learned a couple of things that I didn't know by reading all those regs. And we also passed a budget as well. Yeah. And so I got to see kind of like how the different budgets go for special ed and how that works with the population. So that was also eye-opening. And I was in the rodeo parade with a political organization.
Thank you. A couple weeks ago, I went to the PACES year-end celebration with Assistant Superintendent Chan, and that was nice to see them toast their seniors that were leaving, toast with sparkling apple cider, of course. I went to the Marshall PTA meeting this month because I missed it last month, so it was nice to see the Marshall parent faces and teachers also. And then, yes, I spoke at I was really honored to be invited to speak at the Canyon AAPI event, their first event. And it was really a wonderful 100% student-led event. They had booths with activities and different kinds of demonstrations. And one of the parents came up to me and said, next year they're going to have food. And that was really the thing that was missing, right? Because there's so much good Asian food. So looking forward to next year. And then next week will be the retiree event is on my calendar. So. Yep. Oh, yes. And briefly speaking with Mrs. Nodal at the mariachi event yesterday, she wanted to say thank you to the board to our commitment to the program. Thank you. All right, and with that, meeting is adjourned. Oh, no, meeting is not adjourned. Just kidding. We're recessing to closed session. Darn, I wanted to go home. Reconvening from closed session. We took no action in closed session, and I will adjourn the meeting now.